back to part 2 of Smooth's workshop. Terry here. Part 2 of the build for my Russian T-55A, our medium tank, which is my entry for the International Skill Modelers group build from Russia with Love. This is where we've got to. All the running gear on, main body attached to the rolling chassis. Loosely fitted just now, all the fuel tanks and everything as Tamiya would say you would put them on. I'm going to be detail painting some of this. So in this episode we're going to discuss how we get it to that stage. And oh, bit fell off. It's a bit long, this one, so hopefully you'll bear with me. I ran on waffling and went a bit more into gluing parts together in this one. Anyway, off and see film. Still here? Go on, off you go. Welcome back. Hi, Terry here from Smooth's workshop. Welcome to part 2 of my Tamiya T-55A Russian medium tank, which I'm entering in the International Skill Modelers group build from Russia with Love. In part 1 we covered building the main rolling chassis with all the road wheels and the drive gears and idler gears and everything, and putting the carriers for the fuel tanks on the back. So that's where we left off last time. And in this episode we're going to cover the top main deck of the tank. The one, if you watched the first one, you'll remember I had a little bit of accident damage. I've tried to straighten up a bit and glue it. We'll see how it looks once it's painted. But yeah, we're going to deal with all the parts that go onto the upper deck, putting the upper deck onto the rolling chassis, and various other auxiliary parts that go on. I've already taken the opportunity of cutting all the parts out and laying them off the sprues, so you don't have to sit and watch me doing all that part. So we're going to have a look at the instructions here, and we start off with adding some parts to the upper deck. The engine goes under this area and it has an exhaust coming out, so this part is for the exhaust. So I'm just going to try fit this in place, making sure it sits into the two locating tabs, which it does, and that looks good to me. So I'm going to use a Tamiya extra thin cement tonight, because we're not worrying about parts sticking up. There's no moving parts on the upper deck, it's all stuff that's affixed to it. So just run in along that seam there with the extra thin for the exhaust. Turn it round, get the other side. Again, in along the seam. And just give it a little squeeze in. Give it a little minute to get a grip there. Okay, so that's the exhaust part on. What else have we got? Okay, there's two curved parts here that extend the gun carriage deck. So I'm just having a look in the instructions here. You can't get them wrong. There's two tabs out on this side corresponding to the two tabs on here, and the other side's a single tab. So again, I'll just try fit this into place. Tamiya's build quality might not be up on the detail on this one, but yeah, everything seems to fit into place. I'll see if you can see this capillary action on this glue work, and what I'm going to do here, see if I can get it close enough, is I'm just going to touch it on the seam. That's not shown yet, and you can watch it. It just finds its way down into the gaps via capillary action. I keep saying that all the time. Basically any liquid, if you have don't even think that'll need any down there. I'll just touch a wee touch down there. Any liquid, if you've got two seams and the liquid's fine enough, capillary action is where it's drawn into the seams, into the joins. It finds its way into all the cracks and crevices. And that's what I'm referring to when I'm saying that all the time, just in case you didn't know. Okay, so that's on, solid. One for the other side. Single tab, just dry fit that first. And again, that sits perfectly in there. Extra thin, run it along that seam. Don't know if you can see it actually drawing itself down there. It just disappears in between the seam lines. And again on this side, it probably doesn't need it. I'm just going to put a wee touch. Sorry if you can't see this on camera. What I'm doing is, underneath there's a slight curve. See if you can get that in the camera, and I'm just touching the edge and letting it find its own way in the long seam. A wee squeeze. Okay, well that's that bit. What else can we do now? Right, there's some outriggers go on here on the instructions. I'll just give you a quick peek. So this is what we're doing. We're putting all these parts on. So we've done the exhaust, we've done the turret extensions, and there's a series of little outriggers that hold various parts. So that's what we're going to do next. I've got them all cut off as sprues and laid out. They're tiny little things. So the first one goes at the back. There's a, see if you can catch it in the light there. There's a little slot. Ooh, a little slot at the back. A little tab on this piece. It should, says he, just slot in there, which it has. Now it's a bit wobbly, so I'm going to rest it against the edge of my thumb. With the extra thin, I'm just going to run a little bit along the edge there. A little rule, just make sure it's square, which it is. A little squeeze. That's that part in. I'll just take my light along a bit. So the part we've just fitted is there, and it's just a little outrigger. I'll just run a little bit of this along the other side here. And I'm thinking that should be tight up on the deck, so I'm just going to hold it and squeeze. It's maybe slightly out because I had my little fall. A little bit of pressure on there. Like a bracing piece, an outrigger, like you get in the Land Rovers, bits of rust. Let's see if that's holding. Yeah, a wee tiny wee touch more of it. Nothing up there, just to give it a bit more. And a wee squeeze. Yeah, because that's a corner I fell on and damaged. Idiot that I was. But it's nice and square at the body. That's got a good grip. Yeah, because there's a right angle on this. I was just using that to make sure it was true right angles to the body. Maybe a bit overkill, but that's what I'm doing. Anyway, orientate it back to the picture. There is another one up here, another wee slot in there. And the next tab on this piece, the little tab at the bottom. Can you make it out? Yep. This should just drop in. Excuse me. That glue catches your throat sometimes. Right, I think this is a tweezers one. So I'll just get my tweezers out. It does tell you to use tweezers in the instructions, but yeah, sausage fingers again. There we go. That's in the gap. Just rest my thumb against the back of it so it doesn't fall out. Tamiya extra thin. I'll just dab that along there, let the capillary action pull it across. A quick check with my rule that it's at right angles or perpendicular, which it is. A wee squeeze, and a little touch along the other side, like so. And again, where it meets the body, we touch in there, and a wee squeeze in for a wee second. That's the supports for the the upper mud guards for the tracks, the Outriggers, and just to provide some strength. So there's one final one, whilst I'm squeezing that. There's a notch out there. I've got the other part down there. Again, it's got a tab on it. That's holding nicely. I'll use tweezers this time. So there's the part. Let me see, what have I got I can put this against. Should have had this all prepared for you guys. There you go, there's the part there. It's got a little tab just down there that sits into the body itself. So again, into the body, a little bit of a wobbly fit, so I'm just going to hold this with the back of my thumb. Actually no, it's just a tiny bit of burring on that. I'll just get that with my, there we go, hold it against the body, like so. Tamiya extra thin along the seam. Just checking that it's perpendicular for my American friends. That's looking not bad in that position there. Another wee bit along this edge and up where it comes onto the bodywork. And just a little squeeze into place. That glue sets really quickly. A little bit of alignment there. Yep, so that's 1, 2, 3 Outriggers on that side, and we have 2 to put on this side. So we've got one at the back, just here, and I'm going to use my tweezers again, although no, actually I might get this one in myself. Come on, in you go. Okay, that's that in place. Extra thin, quick run across, and whilst that's grabbing it, just get my steel rule, check that it's perpendicular, which it is, and the same on the other side, just a wee dab up there, a wee squeeze in till it grabs, and then a wee touch where it meets at the right angle to the body. I've got a wee touch there. I'm just going. If you do accidentally put the glue in the body, this stuff self-levels, so just rather than have a blob, just smooth it out. It'll provide a key for the paint going on anyway. I'm not worrying about it too much. There's going to be weathering and stuff on there. Okay, so that's that Outrigger done. There's another, what looks like a bracing piece because it's got a curve on it on the diagram that just fits in there. So I'll grab that with my tweezers this time, because I have a feeling that'll be a tricky devil. Okay, and that's actually going to sit, let's see, can we see the curvature? Yep, that's a brace piece for the upper. You'll go in. Right, I'm going to cheat with this one. I'm going to put a wee dab of the glue in there first. I'm going to grab it with my tweezers. Hopefully it doesn't go off whilst I'm grabbing it with my tweezers. And because it's fiddly, I'm just going to set that in there. Glue's grabbed it, that's good. Just check it's going to be perpendicular to the body, which it is. And then I'll just run some extra thin along there. A little bit along the back, and a little bit where it mates up with that tub part on the body, and give it a little squeeze in. Let's come off. Oh, it's come off the 90 degrees. These things are sent to try us. Bring it back onto the level again. That's what happens when you try to squeeze things too much. It's not taking any strain anyway, so that'll do for me. I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. It's not quite at right angles to the deck. It's always the smaller parts that are the fiddly bits, yeah? Okay. That's basically, or nearly, all that we do in the top deck before it goes onto the bottom, apart from there's two panels now. This one and this large one here, with a couple of hatches in it. They don't open anyway, and they sit that way. So I'm just going to do a quick dry fit and make sure that fits in there okay, which it does. And rather than the glue coming round the front, I'm going to attack this from the back and just make sure it's sitting in place where the mating edges are. Get my teeth into mating edges are. Run my glue along. Like so. Give it a wee second to go off. Just check it's fitting nicely on the top. Lovely. So that's that part on. And then it's telling me there's another little hatch, which I have here. It sits over the rear engine. So we've got 3 vents and a little hatch piece. Again, that does open. There's no engine detail under this at all, so let's just pop that in and see how that dry fits in. Sits quite nice, and I'm just going to, on the underneath with extra thin glue, quick run up that seam, missed it, it's because I'm trying to get the angle to show you on the camera. Quick run up that seam, and there, and there, flick it over. Give it a little squeeze. Okay. That's in. How's this bit looking? It's set. That's fine. That part's dry. I'm just going to take my buffer lightly over it just to take the worst off. But there's a slightly textured surface on this tank anyway, so the time I get primer and everything on it, top coat on it, a little bit of weathering. So there we go. Next stage, it's telling you to put it onto the body. This will be the fun part. Right, this will be where it starts to look like a tank. So we come in with the main body again. There are, I'll just get my wee pointy stick. Two holes, one there and one there, that correspond on the underside of the body to 2 pins. There's one and there's the other one. So those two have to locate into there at the front. and the rest of it at the back. The main body notches in along there. There's like a wee lug at the side there, so that goes in there, and then you're gluing along the main seam of the tank. So we're just going to put the two halves together. See, you might not be able to see this because I'm going to have to line the pins up, but so that's it lined up at the back. That's it lined up at the front. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start at the front. I've got a couple of wee clamps here. My blue tack's not quite worked. I put blue tack on one side because it's going in the angled side to stop it slipping. I'm just going to stick that bang in the middle. It's not blue tack, it's white tack. Blue tack leaves a oily residue and you're not wanting that. So that's that seam together, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some extra fine along the seam. I'm going to angle it so I can see. I'm actually just going right along that seam there where the two parts meet. I've got another clamp, but is that going to stick as well? It is. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I'll just put that down. These are just the cheap wee hobby clamps. I've not got anything else at the moment. I don't usually build the armour, so excuse me while I'm fiddling about with white tack all over the place. Just to give it a bit more grip because we're on an angular surface. And I'm going to... Right, I want the blue tack at the top part. See if that will clip that there. No. Yep, that's got it. Let's take this off just now. Yeah, that's got the seam. I'm just giving it a little squeeze. Run along the seam again. The armour builders will all be laughed at me. Yeah, you should have had those G clamps. I've got to work with what I've got. So get that back on there. Give that a little squeeze. Get the gaps together. Let that glue do its work. Okay, so whilst that's setting at the front, we'll come up to the back. And there's a nice seam edge there we can get into and into there. It's all nicely down at the back. Yep, and I've got a top edge there that I can run along. That's looking good. Right, so I'll run a drop along there. And a drop along there. And along the seam line here. Now, where I usually see the guys using the clamps more is when you're doing the sides. I've had a look and you can see, I don't know if you can see daylight through there. Let me see if I can get the angle. See that wee line of daylight through there? I want that to disappear when I start squeezing this all together. Or do I? It looks like it squeezes along most of the way. Yep. a little bit more persuasion here and there. Right, I'm just going to glue this seam and that seam off camera, so you don't have to sit and wait for ages and ages. I'll be back with the next part in just a wee minute or two. Cheers. Welcome back. Right, off camera, I was wondering why this wasn't fitting together properly. I didn't quite have the front pins lined up, so I popped it back apart and re-glued it. The little bit of glue that's coming out there, because it's all nicely melted, I'll dress it up later with some wet and dry, but that gap, I also, yep, there's wheels on the table. Yeah, I can get into the seam better with this off, so I can now get back into gluing the body. So it was just to let you know, I mean, I don't build armour, so if you come across this on your build, don't panic. What I'm just doing is just doing this a bit at a time. A lot of other guys have big clamps that they can put on. I'm just doing it a bit at a time with the Tamiya extra thin, and I'll go back off camera again and glue it together. It was just really to highlight that, okay, new to armour, it's easier with the wheels off, and make sure you get everything lined up before gluing. I'd slipped out the two little lugs at the front. So now I've got that sorted out, it's going to go together fine. So join me again and I'll have glued all along there and the other side. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Right, as per the last clip, I had a few issues. Just basically because of the way that the Tamiya's instructions tell you to put it together with the wheels and everything on. Tamiya's kits usually fit together really well, so if they don't fit, you're doing something wrong. And in my case, as I've not done armour for a long time, over 30 years, I'd done as the instructions told me, put all the wheels on and everything. It makes it really difficult to see, especially when you try to show the camera, that you line these two pins up at the front when you're putting the body together, so that the seams along between the upper and the lower hull weren't lining up. So off camera I'd split it apart as I've explained, and took the wheels off. I've glued both halves together now, and I don't know if you can see, can we get the light in there? It fits perfectly, I didn't even have to clamp it, one of my wee boxes fell off there. Right, the next section, next few sections tell you to build up various boxes, light assembly, and I've looked on in the instructions a bit, and I did a lot of the pre-building, and put all the boxes on and everything to see what they looked like. And I've decided, looking at it, if I leave all that on, I'm new to airbrushing and I want to get good coverage on my tank and everything, and I want to put a bit of weathering on some of the brackets to show like they're maybe a bit rusty where the water's been sitting in the corners and everything. And if I leave all these boxes on and fuel tanks on, I'm not going to be able to do that. So I'm leaving this part off. Oh, could I get it? Right, this wee fuel tank off, and this one, and these two, and this box, and this box, and this box. That way I can get in and paint all the surfaces, and I'll do all of these separately, apply the weathering on, and then pop them into place. So that's maybe not the way to do it, but that's how I'm going to do it. As I say, most armour builders put everything together and spray it all in one go. I approach things slightly differently, possibly because I build bikes. So yeah, I want full coverage on it, and apply weathering at the ribbons where the water would collect. Hold on, let me just see. This is how I'm imagining it. Obviously, wherever anybody's going to walk, there's going to be worn surfaces and all that. And I'm just thinking ahead to the painting part. Where you've got a corner like this, where water's going to sit, it's going to eat away and cause wee bits of rust in the corners. Well, I can't detail that if all these parts are in, and I don't know whether you'll see them or not in the final build, but that's what I'm planning. So my advice to you, if you're building one of these, Tamiya tells you to put the wheels on and put the tracks on. I left the tracks off because I knew I was going to be painting them. Don't put the wheels on. Get your two halves of the body together, and then if you want to see what it looks like, put your wheels on. But yeah, I've got one tiny wee bit I think to finish, just along this corner here, and with the glue, like so. And basically I was just holding it down till it glued, and I did it in sections all the way along, and it's gave a really nice join. If you've got lots of nice clamps, G-clamp type things, then you could clamp it all up in one go and glue it, and set it aside. Because I don't build armour, I don't have the clamps for it, so I'm just doing it in sections. Right, so that's that. So I've decided I'm leaving the wheels off just for the moment, and all the other parts that they tell you to assemble off. So the only parts I'm going to fit to the body are the bits that I can get in with the airbrush and spray. So if we go by the instructions, has that got a good hold there? Right, okay, I'll hold this while we're on camera. The next part of the instructions detail some bits and bobs on the front of the tank. I'm going to put the lights on because I'll be able to get around about them and spray them. All these little rod and things. I'm not going to put the front box on. The hatch you can have open or closed, but there isn't a driver figure with this. And the pin that goes through, if you're wanting it to open, you could put it in place. I would have done this before I put the two halves together if I was wanting to open, and just melt the end of the tab over with a nail that you've heated up with a lighter, and that way you would have been able to hinge it. But I'm going to be closing it, so that's why I didn't do that. Also tells you there's spare track segments. You see them in there. I'm going to be weathering them in a similar manner to the tracks themselves, so again I'm leaving them off the body. So, right, that's that tiny little piece that I'd missed off camera. That's that glued down nicely, both halves glued down nicely. So we're on to the front. Okay, right, so on the front what I'll do, I'll do the hatch first, just because it's easy. And it just goes in that pin, slides into place. So I'll just get the Tamiya extra thin. The capillary will just seal that shut. That's the hatch fitted. Right, what else have we got? Big pieces, right, they even give you two teeny tiny parts to go over the driver's periscope. There and there. They're just little sun covers or something like that. And they are tiny. So I am going to tiny little dab of glue on them first. And these things are minuscule. I've got sausage fingers. And just, come on you biggie. That sits in place like that, I believe. We'll go in with instructions, just double checking for reference. No, it isn't that way. It's with the curved part forward. Like that. Okay. Really fiddly little part. Need a touch of glue, cocktail stick. You will sit in place, you little devil. They were good fun to clean up as well, these parts. They're just so small. And I know they've got to give you something to glue together, but I don't particularly see the point in something that small when they could have just cast that detail in. We dab the glue on there just to grab it. Now I know it goes the right way round. Just quite difficult because I'm going to try to do this to camera. In place, roughly. Get the glue on it properly. And cocktail stick just to manipulate it into position. Repress down. That's one set already. Okay, so that's just two silly little covers over the top of the periscope there. Probably just sunshades. Right, that's them in. What else we got? Right, I don't know what these are, but they're just little tiny, there's 4 bolts on each one, and they're just sitting, it looks like, in here. Yeah, that just sits in. Again, they could have just moulded that in one go, but it gives you something to stick on, I suppose. Let's dab it with extra fine. Let it find the seam. Oh, that was my tummy rumbling there. Squeeze with a cocktail stick. So there's 4 of them to go on. Here we go, there's another one. Now the reason excuse me, that I'm not using tweezers is I tend to find the tweezers in parts this small that they go ba-ding and go flying across the room. So catch it at the top, catch it at the bottom, and just let the capillary action in the glue get in round about it. Let me squash down with a cocktail stick. That's that one. Yep. Another one across here. Set it in position. Again, these were fiddly to clean up. Dob at the top to hold it. Dob up the side. I'll squeeze down into place. Glue's holding that already. And the last one. At the side here. Hopefully you're getting that on camera. Could use tweezers. But I think the carpet monster, anybody that's been building for any length of time, whether you've got a carpet or not, there's a monster lurks on beneath your bench that likes to steal all your small parts. And no matter how much you rummage and keep your area clean, you can never find them again. So, even though I've got sausage fingers, I try to fit or place as many parts as I can by hand. Right, okay, what else have we got here? It's showing 2 teeny wee parts. A bit like, oh, where was it? Yeah, on the back here. Now, this was a part of the video it corrupted on me when I was putting all these parts on the back armour panel. There's 2 tiny latches here. Well, I've got 2 of these tiny wee things on the front as well. And they go in there and in there. So I prepped them earlier. Again, not using tweezers, because these wee things like to jump about. And they really are tiny. Can you see that sitting on the surface of the tank there? Let me see, can I get that in shot? That tiny little piece there. So I'm just going to coax it across near the hole and jump about a bit and try and get, oh yeah, fell lucky there. So there it is in place. It's absolutely tiny. And this is where glue comes in handy, just a touch. And see it drawing it in there? Gives you enough time to straighten it up. Oh, sorry, move the camera there. I'll repress it. I'll let the capillary action of the glue find all its places. So there's another one of them on this side. Teeny tiny. And I'm not using tweezers on this part either. There is a bit you can grab with it, but a bit of careful manipulation. There we go. And it goes. I suppose these parts would have to be cast separately because they are so small. that's that in. Sorry this video is a bit longer than I anticipated, but there you go, that's those two in. Next it's asking us on part 7 here, these thin rods. I don't know what they're for, maybe some of my armour friends can tell me what they're for. And they locate a square part in there and a tiny wee dot in there, a square part in there, tiny wee dot in there. So, and these how skinny these parts are. So I'm going to hook the wee bit in at the top first and see if I can find, yeah, oh, nearly. No tweezers involved again. Capillary action of the glue in round the bottom part. That'll grab that. We squeeze in with a cocktail stick. A wee dab up at the top. And a cocktail stick just to push it down. So that's that one. There's another one for this side. And at the top, let gravity help me pop the bottom part in, which it has. Extra thin, cocktail stick to push it home. This one's playing silly beggars, so I'll catch it at the top. Just a wee push with a cocktail stick before doing the other side of the bottom. There we go. Yep. One, so that's those two. So we've done these two little bits here. We've done the 4 of these. We've done the 2 tiny ones of them. We've done the 2 rods. And there's a tiny little thing that looks like a horn. That goes up in here. There's a little notch down here, and this thing is really, really tiny. Sorry, the glue's going from it. Always remember when you're using that glue, do it in a well ventilated space, eh? Right, I'm just trying to see. Ah, right, okay, so that it goes in at a slight right angle. Right, how am I going to approach this one? I am going to use tweezers on this one because I'm going at it from the side. And apologies if you can't see this on camera, but it's a fiddly one. So it's coming in like this. So I'm going to get it in place as near as I can. Let the glue catch it. Like so. And then I can do the final manipulation with a cocktail stick. But yeah, it's basically, it's really tiny. And it just sits in there. Tiny, tiny little horn. Can you see it? Tiny, tiny, tiny. That's about to get caught and come off, but anyway, right, so that's that. So, right, okay, we've got light, front lights. Now, I'm going to put these on because I'm not sure in the painting yet whether I have anything else on, but they're not too out of the way. Now, there's one for each side now. They're actually made of 2 parts. I'll just lay this down. Again, they're really, really tiny. Get them with my tweezers. You actually have to glue. How can I get that? This is where it's going to go ping. You actually have to glue these 2 parts together before putting them on the main assembly. And looking at this one, the way the lights go, this is a left hand one. There's a small pin at the bottom, and that small pin goes into there. So will it just stick in there? Or am I going to glue it first and put it in? This I haven't decided yet. Actually, oh, it goes that way. Right, okay. I never had the orientation of it correctly. Correctly. There you go, it's sitting there, I'm just balancing it. I'm going to touch this glue in underneath it so it catches it. I can give it a little squeeze in, like so. Okay, so it's like some sort of, I'm not sure, it could be flares or something, it's just tiny. I've no idea what it is. I'm assuming it's a forward facing light and a side facing light, but do these tanks have many lights? I don't know. That's that one. There's one for the other side again, it was two parts together, which were fiddly. Will it sit in place with gravity whilst I get some glue in it? Will it? There it goes. Tiny dab of glue. Get it in place. Give it a little bit of manipulation to get it where I want it to go. There you go. Absolutely tiny. One on either side. Take a wee while to set. That one's set. That one's not quite. Okay. That's all of that part. Down onto the bottom one. Right, the lights. And the lights sit in. There's a big panel, and the big panel goes in there, and in there, and it's this piece. Now there's a cutout in this piece which sits towards this side. Okay, so it's in. I'm assuming it's got to be perpendicular, so I'm just going to dab there, press it down, get my rule, try and get the angle of dangle correct. Before then using the capillary action of the glue, you'll maybe see it running down this seam this time if I catch it in the light properly. Just touch it and it flows right along. Just a gentle squeezes to help it get a wee grip. I don't even need to do the underside of that because capillary action's ran right along. So that's that bar across the front. And the lights. I've pre-built these as well, they were quite small. There's different variations for what variant you go for. Again, sorry if this is a bit of a longer video than I anticipated. But these just sit on like that. And again, dab the glue in, let the capillary action do its work. A gentle squeeze. Yeah, so we'll have some lights on the front there. That's lights. I'm not putting the track piece on there, I'm not putting the box on, I've put the hatch on. Two more pieces to go in here which are toe pieces. What I'll do is I'll move all these to the side, all these wheels for the moment. I've got a couple of bits prepped for the next section, which we'll go into more detail. But this is the only downfall with Tamiya kits. the rear vents, they give you a mesh. It's not very nice stuff, and it's really quite awkward to work with, so I did that all ahead of time. So there's a couple of panels at the back had the mesh in, so I've done them. I've a couple of other parts to prepare, just to finish off the next section, and then that'll be the bottom of the tank done. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to have a coffee. Welcome back. Right, I decided to do quite a lot of this off camera, just because the video was running on a bit longer than anticipated. Okay, so when we left off, we had 2 holes left in the front, and it's basically these tow cable hooks that fitted in there, so you didn't miss much on that. On the back, oh, I did figure out these are side lights, running lights, because why would you have one in each corner? There's tiny little ones we had to put on the back, one on either side. A couple of cross members. Luckily this damaged spar, it managed to finish a cross member there, a cross member there. The exhaust outlet port with the rivet detail in, that's been fitted, and then a heat shield on the top. I fitted the rear grill part and the actuation bar for locking it and unlocking it, and these grills on the back. So you didn't miss much, but I thought it would be better doing it off camera. Fuel barrels for the back. Well, I was thinking of trying to paint them in place, but then when you get that one on in there, where's this other slot, and that one on in there, there's 2 slots in the bottom of each. Okay, yeah, I could probably get around them with the airbrush. I don't think I'd make a very good job of getting in there rather than them, so same as with the rest of the tanks, I'm going to leave them off. I'm just going to stick the wheels back on just so I don't lose any, but they're going to have to come back off again anyway when we get to the painting stage. So I'll pop these back on now. Yeah, so it tells you to put a lug on the back as well. I'm going to detail paint that off the tank. Again, because it runs right along the back of it here, it's going to be a bit awkward to get in there with the airbrush. On the instructions, there's 2 different variants. One of them has a snorkel on the side of the turret, which is the version B that I'm building. So if you're doing C, D or E, the snorkel goes along the back, and there's the tabs there that I removed in the part of the footage that was lost, because if it's my variant you don't need them. So yeah, rolling chassis and the deck attached to the rolling chassis. So in the next part we are basically going to be covering the turret. It tells you here to do the tow rope as well. I'm going to be getting detail paint separately, so I'm kind of not following exactly the instructions that Tamiya gave us. As I say, I wouldn't have even attached the wheels the first time if, oops, try and put the idler and the drive sprocket on the right way. I wouldn't have attached the wheels knowing that I had the deck to attach. Why do I keep putting this on the wrong one? Had I known, it would have been easier to do the... I know what I've done. This tank has 2 idler wheels. Yeah, so... Sorry it's been a lengthy video. As I say, I'm not trying to teach you how to build a model, but some people are new to armour and everything, and I just thought I would share some of the build and fitting of parts and things like that. So I went with Tamiya's guidelines. I would have the tracks on there as well. It would have been the right paint to any painting and weathering and everything on it. So that's where we are. If I'd followed their guidelines, all the fuel tanks and everything would be on the body. The big drums would be on the back, and all the boxes and everything on the side there. I want to be able to get in and spray everything first. So I'm going to detail all these parts over here on their own. Yeah, so when you come back next time, in part 3, this is when it will really start looking like a tank. We're going to be doing the turret, putting the gun together, commander's cupola, and all the other bits and bobs. Yep, just all the bits and bobs associated with the turret. Putting the anti-aircraft gun together, putting the commander together, and basically after that it's paint. So in part 3 we will do the rest of the parts still to be done, turret, commander, Toro. But for now, that's how my wee baby's looking. Not quite like a tank yet, but almost there. Thanks for watching. It's Terry from Smooth's Workshop, and this is build section number 2 of my entry into the International Scale Modelers Group Build from With Love. Till part 3. Bye!